there was just a little bit of a burr right there, so now we've got the burr off, and this thing slips right in, no sweat. So I'm going to go ahead and press this in, and get that set up, and then we'll come back and start to machine the pulley and get that all set up. Right now we're just going to we're going back in, and we're squaring up all of our surfaces. Once we get everything square, then we'll go in and take some measurements and see what we've got. But and as you can see, this thing's a little bit off. Not bad, but it's still off. So we probably got another 10 thousandths to take. Let's go ahead and cut that and see what we end up with. Yeah, it looks like it's going to clean it right up. Alright, so we got that cleaned up. Let's see what that surface looks like, although it doesn't really matter because we're going to cut a V in that. There's not hardly going to be anything showing. So our measurement from this outside edge to the outside edge of the pulley is 1920, which is, right now we're sitting at 2150, and so 1920 is somewhere about there. So we've got a good 1/4 inch to take off of this thing before we can decide that we're down to where we want to be. And since we've got, notice I've got a tap in here because I could not find a bolt to go into there. So I ran a tap in there, and it basically is just holding it in place for the moment. Although it does swing out a little bit. It looks a little dangerous. And it is a little dangerous. So I have to be extra careful. So we'll drop this in here, tighten her up, and then let's take our bit and turn it around. And see if we can get in here without causing too much trouble. And I don't think we're going to be able to. So we're going to need to get a bit that's left-handed flat on one side. We've got a radius bit, and we're going to use the flat side of the radius bit, which works just fine. It keeps everything away from that lathe dog, which is kind of banging around there. And that'll get us straightened out. So I'm just going to run this in by hand right now just to get everything squared up. Make sure I don't have any real heavy high spots. I don't. Now we can hook up the power feed and let her rip. Okay. Another cut. We got about, probably 10 of these to make. Okay, this is our last cut. We've got it trimmed down to 1920 between this surface and this surface here, which is where the old original pulley was. And so then we're just basically going to measure our pulley width and take off whatever needs to be taken off on the inside here. So we're just about done with that cut. And we're pretty well set to go here. Okay. So, 1920, and that is just about right. Perfect fit. Okay, so now we're going back into the old pulley here. Kind of got bent up a little bit, but it's no problem because we're going to be working from a clean edge. Can we find a clean edge? I think there's one right about there. So our next measurement is, and I think, yeah, our next measurement's going to be 600 thousandths even. Wow, that's uncommon. So 600 thousandths is going to take us to right there. And I think what I want to do is I want to give ourselves just a little bit more material here. And that's about 100. Let's go to 120. Put a little dye on here. Let it dry a bit, and it'll dry pretty quick because that thing's fairly warm. And then we'll mark off 120, and then we'll mark off our width, our pulley width, which is it looks to me like 4. And we want to get this just right. And that's where the pulley was rubbing. So 375. So 120. Let's make it 125, just to give ourselves a little bit more room. There's our mark. And 375 plus 125, and I'll calculate it up here. 500, I think. 375, but I have no brain left, so plus 125 equals 500. So that's a ½ inch, and that's going to take us to the other side of the inside. And there is our pulley. And then we come back in afterwards and go ahead and trim all of that off. Let's see what this looked like. Yeah, that's fine. The pulley sat, it pretty much sat just like that. And so it went in a bit to grab on. So I think we're in good shape. So now what we need to do is get another bit that comes in from the other side and cuts from the left-hand side, and then trim that back until we get back to about there, and then we'll have our pulley seat and ready to go. Then all we have to do is come in and cut the V's, and then trim a little bit back from the interior here, because they wanted as little weight as possible. You know, they had to do a little extra job there, and then come in and punch this thing out, and then cut the seat so that the washer will sit right on top of that. All right, so I'm going to switch out some tooling here, and we'll come back to it. Okay, we got it trimmed down to our width, and now tomorrow morning I'll come in, and you can see the little marks right there. We're going to come in and cut a V into that, round things off a little bit, and come in and cut a seat for the washer to hold this whole thing onto the crankshaft, and we'll be set up and ready to go.